Hey there, it's Max again. Doing some more campaign prep, probably going to be a short stream for the Wildlands campaign. The party has come to Arkne, where the famous library of Ibu Gruger lies. And it's important that I have a prepared description for the library. At one time, the town in general and the library were pretty identical in my notes. Now I've got all these other locations. And it's become long enough at 13 pages and counting to where I need to have my outline set up properly. Alright, let's see. Okay. The library of Gruger is tall and imposing. It looks more than a bit like several wizards' towers mashed together with tall, circular construction jutting out, growing. Growing out of complex square architecture. That doesn't sound interesting at all. It looks like more than a bit like several wizards' towers mashed together. A mishmash of wood, stone, tall windows, wood and stone pierced by tall, beautiful windows and capped by a rolling roof. It looks improbable in construction, though not at all rickety, despite what must be an impressive age. The building seems to float in places. Parts that jut out with parts that jut out yet lack any visible support. All around the library, fluttering to and fro, or back to and fro, fluttering in and out of the eaves and high windows, are what at first appear to be birds. But you soon realize I'm going to steal something from Harry Potter here. Our paper. But you eventually folded papers, flapping mightily to stay on course in the light wind. Two chimneys, each at a different height, put out columns of smoke that occasionally change color and you can detect a smell like incense and ink on the air. Pretty good paragraph. The library of Ibu Gruger is tall and imposing. It looks more than a bit like several wizards' towers, mashed together. I don't want to repeat the word mish-mash. An accretion. Sounds a little gross. A puzzle box of wood and stone pierced by tall, beautiful windows and capped by a rolling roof. A rolling shingle roof. It looks improbable in construction, though not at all rickety. Despite what must be an impressive age, the building seems to float in places, with parts that jut out, yet lack any visible support. With balconies. I'll be more specific. More specific is generally more interesting. With balconies and bay windows. That jut out in all directions, yet lack any visible support. All around the library, fluttering in and out of the eaves and high windows, are what at first appear to be birds, but you eventually realize are folded papers, flapping mightily to stay on course in the light wind. Two chimneys, each at a different height, put out columns of smoke that occasionally change color and you can detect a smell like incense and ink on the air. Okay, now I've got to guide them in. Where do we go, you know? What kind of door would be a cool door for a library? Maybe it's a giant book, or is that too, you know, kid-like? It's kind of neat. Like arched eyebrows. Two of the windows overlook the front steps, which sweep up grandly to a large door that looks like the cover of a gigantic book. Complete with a gilded calligraphic title that proudly proclaims library. For the people of this land, that they may at last learn to read and the value of letters. It's a lot longer than a title. Like a motto. And if they go inside, within there lies a marvel of magic. Marvel of magical construction. Floating, flying bookshelves. Floating bookshelves ponderously fly across. I'll say flying bookshelves ponderously float across after a short foyer that seems to be decorated with marble carved like rippling parchment. You look up at the main hall. Flying bookshelves ponderously float across the across a massive room. Filtering, shifting the light from the rows of Gothic windows. And I have a atmospherics for this. Which is medieval library. But I wonder... There it is. Very quiet. People of various races inside peruse the works or copy them on wooden tables. Keeping just within reach of someone on the tiers of balconies that curl around the walls. There are people of a multitude of races, appearance, dress. Some peruse the works or copy them. Others take notes on wooden tables. Or simply stand gawking. Should be another fun thing. As one of the massive floating bookshelves changes direction and slips perfectly between two others to answer some unseen signal. Down toward the far end are some rows of fancifully carven columns featuring dragons and manticores. And other creatures too strange to immediately name. Through those columns, you can see some smaller wooden doors where lead to the librarian's offices. The smell of old books descends on you in a tidal wave. Somehow enhanced by the two fireplaces, one at either end, which keep the place relatively warm. Despite the winter air outside. I don't need to describe the shape of the windows. That's overwriting. Alright. If that's 4 paragraphs, that is a lot. The only sense I haven't appealed to is touch. And really, that depends on the PCs. I guess warmth is kind of touch. I do need to add one more thing, which is walking amongst these folk, these varied folk, are figures in pale parchment-colored robes. Clearly a uniform. And they seem to be shelving books and occasionally moving the bookcases with the wave of a hand. Speaking in low voices over the rustle of paper or shelving books. And occasionally Alright, that is a lot of description, actually. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's pretty cool. Sounds like a magical library. Alright, so this thing is what I haven't figured out yet. And I still don't really have a good idea. For Sezig. Honestly. I may have to just speak to it in the moment. Legend of Dayslayer and Nightslayer. got nothing. He should be really cool. What are my goals with this character? He should be... I mean, it's easier to make him disappointing. Maybe if he's obsessed with wine... Maybe that's just how it is. Maybe it's not going to be as awesome as Akiri always dreamed. Maybe he's a badass. Maybe he's an anti-hero. But he's got his dwarf buddy and his quest for the sword wings. And Akiri's really gonna want to take part in that. Which would be fine. Except... I don't really want to add an NPC to this already gigantic party. Still though, if it was for the sword wings, Akiri would be super excited, and it could take her elsewhere if it was cool. I mean, like Sezig Lagaduc, the character is growing into this very jaded, very kind of embittered old knight. Maybe thinking Sir Pellinor from... But he's a goofball. From Sword in the Stone. He might be this kind of jaded, old for an Aarakocra. How old is he? I'd like him to be like 60-ish in human years, but Aarakocra measure age in seasons. They don't live very long. I think Akiri is 13 seasons. So I'll make him 3 times that. 39 seasons. Sometimes a character is just stronger than what I kind of want. I wanted him to be like reinforcing the Swordwing's love for her. Old for him. But I don't know if that's going to happen right away. Jaded, bitter, angry that he was assigned to this quest, yet utterly dedicated to it. How will I talk as him? Sezig Lagaduc. Maybe his voice is scratchy. An old campaigner. Yeah. Maybe he speaks in a growl. Well, what kind of bird is he? I'm going to use the bird bird tokens I bought on here. Bird people. Alright. Is he an owl? Somehow he doesn't seem like an owl to me. This is similar to what Arkne is, like a pigeon kind of thing. That hummingbird is too weird for words. Something about the pink skin creeps me the hell out about it. I love the peacocks. And I'm keeping this phoenix. It's become a major component. I love this baby bird, though. Maybe this is Sezig. Kind of pale feathers. Fighter. Let me try Kassoon's NPC generator and see if that, Nope. I have a very clear picture in my mind of this character, but he's not serving my story, which is a weird problem. Well, maybe he does serve the story. The good of the Swordwings and their leader, Daisio. Maybe Sezig's voice is low. Not necessarily scratchy. Harsh. Although he could have like a drinker voice that way. Yeah. I believe in the Swordwings. That'd be interesting. I believe in Daisio. No, I like the scratchy voice. Heavy drinker voice. He's seen bad things happen to good people. And he has seen evil prosper in the seasons he's lived here. He saved Snorri's life when the dwarf we've got all these birds with like swords and shields, but where are the birds with bows and arrows, which would only make sense for them to have ranged attacks? Like, that's not a bow or an arrow. Because if you can fly, why would you, you know, not use ranged attacks? That is silly. The dwarf mercenary was set upon by harpies. Harpies, wyverns, manticores. Sissig drinks to forget and to motivate him to deal with the dark curses and dreadful tomes he must research. He has been on this quest for for 19 seasons. It was given to him by Deisio himself. Sessig's name was given to him by the Sessig's name comes from the lands of the Lord, where his parents were kept as pets long ago. Well, long in Aarakocra terms. Twin swords that seek the destruction of one another. Across the centuries. Forged by an Archmage of the Veye Empire. Avamore himself. Symbols. Self. And called symbols of balance in the world. Nightslayer is an utterly evil weapon and disappeared. Lost by... no, stolen from Avamorn's forge. Oh boy. We made it through the week. Hey, Taladar. Good to see you, my friend. The week was indeed made through. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty tired. Getting the all the publications out today that I had to get out. Taladar says, cleaned out the fire pit and burned some old logs tonight and just sat there for a while. Well, that sounds pretty awesome, honestly. I wish I had a fire pit and a place to sit. By it right now. That sounds really good, Taladar. Have a sip of whiskey. Something like that. But this is appropriate. So, we need the who, what, where, and why. Who, what, where, why, and how. I need an Aarakocra name. By Kira. The Mischievous. By Kira the Lunatic. Kira the Mad Thief. "400 years ago." Maybe even longer. How old is the Vane Empire is the question. So, who, Avamorn, and Kira the Mad Thief? Arakokra. The hunt for her turned up little, for whenever cornered, she used the what do the blades do? The destructive weapons to great effect. Upon her pursuers, who were forced to fall back or die. Eventually, Swordwings stepped in, and Dacio, wielding his we need to make this an impressive legend. I came up with a cool name for this guy's other sword. This half mythical living leader. What were his two swords? Nightslayer and Fire's End. Wielding his Ember, wielding his Ashen Blade, Fire's End, cast a spell that led him to Kira's hiding place in somewhere here in the Wildlands. Beneath the mountain of the eternal sun. The battle was epic, but Kira But when he found her, when the great Daisio found her, Kira only had one sword. The good aligned weapon, Night Slayer. The Cursed Blade, Day Slayer. The battle was epic as artifact clashed against artifact with a sound that woke the flocks of birds for miles around. And the sun shone on an eternal golden witness to their Kara never revealed where she had hidden it. The blessed weapon. Or where it had been lost. And now sword wings. Knightly order fears. And after all this time, the curse of the Day Slayer is slowly poisoning some land, some poor soul here in the Wildlands. Wreaking a terrible destruction. Not brilliant, but not the worst. I think Akiri will like it. And that's who I'm trying to please. So that's my legend of these two swords. Now, depending on the knowledge check, I'll give different pieces of this legend. I'm not going to worry exactly what the various DCs are right now, because I may want to change this legend a little bit. Alright, so we have a pretty interesting character here. I think it's probably better. Even though he doesn't really... he's not going to make the player feel awesome about the sword wings. If he is jaded and sad. But that just feels right for the character. And he is seeking the cursed sword called Dayslayer. All right, pretty good. I did two critical things in this stream. I wrote up the description of the library, which is kind of the main focus of the town where the players are. Oh, and I figured out this significant NPC. I know his goal. I know his quirks. I know at least two major relationships that he has. And I know the legend of the two swords, and especially of the cursed blade, Dayslayer, that he seeks. And that's pretty good. I have a lot of potentially not that useful detail in this town. But I've had fun making it. And I've got some intrigue set up at the library, and of course there's the major intrigue that the players have or involved in, where the enchanter is trying to kill the blind philanthropist. Spoiler alert. Hopefully, if you're in the game, you're not listening. I think I'm pretty happy with this. I'm not lacking any other significant pieces now. And certainly, should the players walk into any building in town, I will have something I can just be like, yeah, that's what it's like. I'll have characters and descriptions and stuff for them to do. It's one of possibly my most fully detailed town. Hopefully the players will fall in love with Arkne as they fell in love with the village they started in, Toreen. That's certainly my goal. So I've got to make sure that Arkne isn't, a terrible place to be. But I think they may keep going back to Toreen. I couldn't blame them. I think that happens with low-level players. You know, there's the town where you're helping the people that you start in, and it's charming, and there's problems, but, you know, it's like you're helping them, and it's all right. And you become attached to it, and then the campaign moves on, and you always want to go back there. I've definitely experienced this myself. All right, folks. Well, I don't know. Let me know if you have any suggestions for stuff I could work on, but otherwise, I'm not feeling a strong need. I've got the description of the library, and I know this major NPC pretty inside and out. Sezig Lagaduk. Or Sezig. Sezig Lagaduk. Lagaduk. Wait. I will try to speak like this when it's Sezig's voice. Like it's just so dry. He's got to keep drinking. Wet his beak. Why does he need to charter passage? Well, he's got a dwarf friend, but he's got a bunch of gear because they just came back from excavating in this temple that I decided was here. I don't think I need to write that down. Well, no, I should, actually. Has a bunch of excavating gear he used to follow up a lead on the cursed sword. It turned out to be a dead end. It was led him to an old the ruins of a temple on the shore of Deep Lurk Lake, which had become a pirate's lair, which had become the haunt of some undead pirates at some point. Now he seeks the next clue in Arkne. Eyeless. Yeah, he'll talk like that. Alright, folks, it's 12:20 here. Been a long week. And I actually got a lot of good stuff done this stream. Thank you so much for joining me, Taladar, and anyone else who hung out while I've been streaming. Thank you to anybody who watches this later. You are awesome. I'm going to sign off for the night, and you never know what I'll be streaming. Tomorrow night, I think our Blades in the Dark game is cancelled. But this game, the D&D game, the Wildlands, is scheduled, and we will be playing on Sunday night. I just don't know what I'll be streaming tomorrow night. Possibly more campaign prep, or possibly a one-shot game, or some other thing. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But until then, have a good weekend, you as well, Taladar. And thanks again. Okay. Good night.